Captain Jason Chambers of Below Deck Down Under reportedly revealed if he would have fired Gary King of Below Deck Sailing Yacht following a recent incident in which the first officer consumed excessive amounts of alcohol. Season 3 of Below Deck Down Under just started, and Season 5 of Below Deck Sailing Yacht just concluded. However, Captain Glenn Shepard provided extremely stringent alcohol rules for one night out while the former was still airing. Regretfully, Gary and other crew members took advantage of the circumstance and ended up drinking 10 drinks. Despite his anger, Captain Glenn did not discharge Gary. Jason Chambers, the captain of Below Deck Down Under, discussed how he would have dealt with Gary King's alcohol use on Sailing Yacht if he had been in charge rather than Glenn Shepard. Speaking to EW, Captain Jason brought up Gary's excessive drinking on Sailing Yacht and how the captain ultimately handled the matter. Captain Glenn did exactly what I would do, he said. We operate on these bases. Don't breach the rules and act like adults. After the captain chastised Gary, Jason was appalled by his immature actions. Jason acknowledged that Glenn had given him plenty of chances to mature, and Gary truly botched it. He also said that Gary most likely wouldn't have a job if he had been the captain of the sailing yacht. Captain Jason spoke with EW mostly to provide an update on the modifications that have been made in response to Luke Jones's alleged sexual assault from the previous season. Jason claims that producers are now more responsible for keeping an eye on everyone's alcohol consumption. This led to a significant decrease in alcohol consumption. However, the Bravo personality wanted to clarify that this does not imply that life in Australia has become dull. According to him, the crew did in fact let their guard down a bit. They didn't, however, reach the point where they were unable to board the boat appropriately. Captain Jason acknowledged that Captain Glenn was correct to chastise Gary. Though it undoubtedly would have been the appropriate thing to do, the captain of the sailing yacht refrained from firing the first officer. It would have been one of the largest firings in Below Deck's history if Jason had fired Gary while on Sailing Yacht. Glenn has come under fire for allegedly being overly forgiving of disobedience. Even though Jason is a highly likable guy who wants everyone to get along, he wouldn't have hesitated to correct Gary in a manner that Glenn didn't. Many have questioned whether Gary deserves to be promoted to captain in the first place, as he hopes to do so in the future. His judgment has been called into question on multiple occasions. He hasn't always been able to win over his squad, and he is just too young to be given leadership responsibilities. He lacks the necessary skills, as evidenced by the drinking event alone. Captain Jason should have been the captain of Sailing Yacht instead of Glenn, as evidenced by his admission that he would have sacked Gary even if Glenn didn't. Jason's willingness to fire his staff has been hinted at the Below Deck Down Under previews. Perhaps Bravo might consider partnering Gary with Jason to see if that captain can finally put the first officer in his place, even though it is highly doubtful that Gary will return to the Below Deck brand given the accusations against him.